Wildflower Western Lifestyle Live with host Becca Salamone.
Howdy, y'all. I'm Becca Salamone, and you're watching Wildflower Western Lifestyle Live, where we explore the heart and soul of the American West. And I'm really super excited to have a special guest with me today. I've been watching this guy on Facebook, sharing his posts, being inspired by him for several years now. And I can't believe I've got the real thing right here in front of me. And we're going to talk to him about his career in Western art and other art as well. And just find out what makes him tick and his cowboy persona. So, welcome to the show, Denny Karchner. How are you doing?
Doing well, Becca. Thanks
How did I say that name? Was it good?
You nailed it. It's Karchner. God bless.
Oh, so I've been saying Karchner for years, but that's not it. It's Karchner.
Hey, that's what it looks like, but Karchner's have the correct pronunciation. So
there you go. All right. Well, let's get started. Just talking about basically your origin story, if you will, where your love of art came from and that cowboy persona that you put out there.
I've often people ask, when did you start drawing, or how did you get your talent, or this or that. I had a mother, I guess, that she saw things in me at the age of 3 that she encouraged me to do art and draw things and that, and always tell the story about sitting in church at the age of 3. That was how she kept me quiet. Give me a piece of paper, pencil, draw me a picture, and be quiet. So that she saw something. So there was times that I would sit in the closet with my little record player and listen to music and draw. So that's how things sort of got started. So. And it went on to things like when I got a little older that I found that I wanted to pursue the artwork as how to make money in this life, and so became a graphic artist and went to the Art Institute to study for that. Is there anything that I'm sort of missing there, Becca? That you?
Yeah, no, I'm curious to know, like at the age of 3, when you were drawing, you're sitting around doodling and whatever you're drawing, did that really look like artwork at that time? Because some people are talented way back to that age.
My mom, she used to carry a picture of Felix the cat that I drew at the age of 3, and believe it or not, here it is at the age of 3.
That's pretty good.
She carried that in her wallet forever, and I managed to get my hands on it and stuck it in a little frame. And that's what I was doing at the age of 3.
Awesome. So kind of like go back over the history of your life, and you started at 3 with art. You went to the Art Institute, is that right? And then. Yes. Then you became an artist, or somewhere in there I read that there was like a hiatus of some number of years before you were painting again. What was going on with that?
When I went to at the age of 13, I was being paid as a graphic artist, and at that time I realized that I really wanted to continue on being a commercial artist, not so much a fine artist. I wanted to be a graphic artist. So at the age of 13, I had planned on, going and pursuing that. And in my head that I thought, after talking to some of the teachers, I thought that I needed college prep courses for my art, and ended up that it wasn't the thing I needed to do. And I actually, when I got into senior high, I didn't even take art classes. I was concentrating on getting those credits for college. And then I finally decided this wasn't it. Backed out of it, went general, and I went and started taking art classes again, which, I was being told that, you need to do this. And so I ended up doing that. The Art Institute started courting me about coming to Pittsburgh for an associate's degree, which was just utterly fantastic. I found myself, though, getting bored because a lot of the stuff that I was being taught was stuff that I already knew. And I was so privileged. There was me and one other student. The last 9 months of our school, they pulled us out out of all classes, and they put us to work in the school studio. So I actually got to work as a graphic artist while going to school, and
That's special.
what a privilege. Go
Yeah.
for it.
That just means that you're really talented, right?
Well, I had a beautiful portfolio that the one director, he insisted that he wanted to keep it because he felt that that was what all portfolios should look like. And I
Yeah.
reminded him I needed it to get a job. And,
Let me,
and
let me, let me interrupt you real quick and just throw this up here. This is Michael McDermott. I don't know if you know him or not. He says, I remember Felix the Cat, brother. Is that one of your friends?
yeah, these are some of my followers probably that'll follow me on
Okay.
cowboyism
Yeah.
sites.
There you go. Yeah. So I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but
Okay, no, go for it.
keep going with your history. So tell us a little bit about, how you developed your style and what inspired you. I know you do Western art, and then you also do some sports art. And what other things do you do as well?
But let me just go back to the Art Institute.
Okay.
I had we had the privilege of the one instructor showing us how to screen print. Nowadays, a lot of kids used to get this in elementary school. In my age, we didn't even know what screen printing was. So we were shown how to screen print, and that's how I ended up going into the screen printing industry for many years. We my first wife and I ran a large printing company in Clearfield, Pennsylvania. We started off as small printers, printing a lot of local stuff, and then it exploded into women's wear. We started printing women's wear for Lane Bryant, Victoria's Secret, Sears, Penny's, Kmart, and ended up that that's how we supported and went through that. And that's when my artwork sort of went on hiatus because we were busy running a plant and trying to raise money, get kids, put our kids through school and this and that.
Yeah,
So that's why
the way of your life sometimes.
that's when my artwork took a back seat for quite a while.
Right.
And as that closed up, we ended up shutting that all down, and I got a divorce, and we ended up moving away. But to pursue the artwork, I ended up in down south working for several companies as graphic artist there.
Okay. And so what part of the country was that? Because I know
In Wilmington, North Carolina, is where
okay.
I was at. And then we moved from there to Spartanburg, South Carolina, where we were working for Knights Apparel, which was a large collegiate printer. That and we printed a lot of Dallas Cowboys artwork there as well. They had the client for the Dallas Cowboys, and I found myself doing a lot of player graphics for the Dallas Cowboys.
So you've got a big connection to the sports industry. Are you a sports lover?
I am. I grew up just about 30 miles from Penn State University. I'm a big Penn State fan, and going to school in Pittsburgh. My home's about 100 miles from Pittsburgh, and we spent a lot of time in Pittsburgh even after I got out. But I started off my Western art. I started off basically working in pencil and didn't do that much painting. Even when I was in school, I didn't do that much painting. I found myself loving pencil and doing that. So it ended up that I decided to try doing some painting, and it ended up going over gangbusters. I found that I could still do some painting after 30 some years of sitting and not doing it. 32 years of not painting or drawing. So I found myself going hog wild when I moved to Cody, Wyoming, and that's when I started painting a lot of the locals and end up through that. I was introduced through Mr. Kurt Gowdy. I met Mr. Kurt Gowdy, the famous news or sportscaster, voice of the Olympics, voice of the Red Sox. They commissioned me to do his portrait, and from that, here comes the big spot. Mr. Rooney, Art Rooney Jr. of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had the same photographer that Kirk Gowdy had in Florida, in Palm Beach. And with that, both of them had been using the same photographer, and I painted the portrait of Mr. Gowdy from one of those portraits this photographer had taken. Mr. Rooney's artist who he had hired to do all of these old Steelers, a sad story, he got cancer and died before he got them done. And he asked me to continue on the job and finish painting and drawing all of these other Steelers. And that's how I ended up getting connected to the Steelers. And Mr. Rooney has really helped my career. He's introduced me to a lot of people, a lot of players, a lot of important people, and it really helped my art career. I have if the players didn't buy a lot of the prints I did, Mr. Rooney would buy them and donate them to the Hall of Fame, where several of my pieces are in the Hall of Fame, including the Troy Polamalu that I did for the Steelers several years ago.
Wow. So when the Steeler artwork was being done, were you in Cody then, or were you still down here or in Florida?
Actually, I was out in Cody when I did most of that. See, we kept our home here in Florida. We were floating back and forth, but most of the Steeler artwork was done while I was living out west in Wyoming.
Okay. Now, when you got out to Cody, Wyoming, which is a huge Western area there, yeah. So, what was the inspiration to do some of this Western art? What made you do that?
My wife and I, we opened up a store on Sheraton, right downtown Cody, and it was just a gorgeous store. And it was actually at that time it was the Christmas store, and we bought it and took it over, and we expanded it into a lot of other products and that. And but a lot of people in Cody, they walk it and talk it. They dress it. They look like a cowboy and they're strapped. And a lot of these people would come in the store. I'd be out painting at the ranch, but Lee would be working the store, and all these people would come in. And my wife knew what kind of characters I was looking for to paint, and she would ask them if they would be interested in having their portrait taken. And I think 100% of them said absolutely. So we had a studio set up downstairs. We would get them dressed up, pose them, and take as many as 100 shots or more. And then from those, I would go through them and pick which ones I wanted to paint from. And that's how it started. But these people would come walking in, and they were so gracious to let me paint them, and a lot of them became close friends. And I've lost a few of them just recently too that I painted. So.
That what you just said there just kind of sparked another question in my mind. I interviewed a girl here that's a Western artist. She focuses on rodeo, and she does something similar where she paints from a photo. Right. So tell me a little bit about your process and how you actually paint.
I'm proficient in Photoshop. That's how I work to create Harley Davidson artwork, which we'll discuss here in a little bit. But a lot of the images, I mess with them in Photoshop and maybe add some things, change colors and that. And from that's what I use to look at when I paint. I take and draw my lines. I paint on museum grade masonite. I don't paint on canvas. I paint on 1/8-inch masonite that is prepared to take oil paints. And I transfer my lines onto the board. And if somebody would watch me paint, you swear I'm painting by numbers. You paint to the lines. But that's my process. There's several pieces on my website that if you look there, you'll see work in progress. And some of those you can see from beginning to end how I created them. I started doing this because I had people that were Some of them were trying to say that I was painting over top of photographs. This way, you can absolutely see that there's no photograph underneath what I'm painting. I'm painting on a white piece of
Now,
masonite.
now do you do where you video the process of painting in progress? Because she does that, and she does like a reveal of the painting at the end. So do you
Right.
do something like that where you videotape it?
I have not done any of the videos. The only thing that we have done in the past, I did one drawing that is called the 3U Birdies, and it's a piece with two pistols and a rifle by an Italian company that manufactures um, replicas, and from that I did this picture, and it starts up in the top right or top left, and you can see in the slideshow as it continues on down that I work to the bottom right to keep my hand out of where I'm working. But I have a strange process that I use. Maybe it's not even, there's a lot of people. I've had people ask me what I'm doing. When they watch me, they don't understand how I work. And it's an odd process. I'm an
My
odd.
my mom was an artist, and she painted kind of more of like an impressionist style.
Right.
But when we were out in the world and walking around, she would see, let's say a lake with some trees reflected in it, and she'd like take her hand up there and she'd like be painting in the air. Like she was practicing her painting, and she could just see it when she looked in the world. Are you like
Well,
that?
that's it. As an artist, I see the pieces completed before I even start. I just and then when I do them in Photoshop, it even verifies what I've got in my head. Um, it's one of those things that I think that I've been really blessed to be able to see that see into the sort of into the future. But I don't know how else to explain it. But
Yeah.
um,
Well, let's talk a minute about some of your, I guess, your more famous Western pieces. Can you just tell us some stories that went along with some of them? And also, we want to mention we're doing a giveaway. So maybe we can talk about those particular pieces. And I'm going to throw up here while you're talking about how they can enter. All right, go ahead.
One of my pieces that I did that one of the prints will be given away today is one of the pieces I did of William F. Cody, and it's titled Cody the Legend. And years ago, I was on a hunt, and I would hunt for images. And I remember one Sunday morning, I was looking for images, and I went back, I don't know how many pages looking for images of Cody, and I got clear back to page 10, and I found this image. And when I saw it, it just about blew me away. And ended up when I started doing some checking, here the photograph was taken at a Masons gathering. The Masons had this big annual meeting, I guess, every year. And every year everybody's picture was taken. And this photograph of what we thought was Buffalo Bill was posted, and it was posted by the Masons. And it ended up when I got in contact here, I actually was talking to the president of the Masons in Washington D.C. He gave me permission to use that, and he said the only thing is I can't confirm that photograph is of William F. Cody. One of my friends who was this, you can see there, this piece. I ended up having a friend of mine that I got to meet was one of the directors at the Buffalo Bill. With that, he took my drawing. He said we don't even have a copy of this photograph, and they have thousands and thousands of photographs of Cody in the museum in the Buffalo Bill Museum. It's the Buffalo Bill Museum of the West now. But they did not have a photograph of this. So we ended up checking in with folds in Mr. Cody's ear and a couple other places. They were able to verify that those creases were that this photograph was actually William F. Cody.
Wow.
So that verified the image for me that it was him. So I went ahead and did the drawing, and what you see here is the drawing. It's 12 by 18. It's one of my favorite pieces. It's just a lot of detail there.
Yeah,
And
it's my favorite piece so far.
I saw your request. I think I'm going to help you out because you're helping me out here, giving me a nice plug in that. So I'm going to take care of you. So,
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
all right.
I love that. It's really,
Good.
really great.
Thank
Well,
you.
now
But
that, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I love to hear you talk. You tell me the story.
Uh, and it ended up that this piece became one of my silhouette pieces, or my pieces that promote on my business cards and everything. People just, when they see it on my business card, they ask me if it's a statue, and the first thing is, no, it's just a pencil drawing. And a lot of people ask, what is it? The pencil drawing, it is a pencil drawing. What you see, though, in the darkest areas, like under the hat brim and to the left of him in these dark areas in the upper left-hand corner, that is powdered charcoal. But
Wow.
every place else that you see detail, like his face, his coat, his hair, and beard, and all that, is all done with a real sharp, soft number 8, number 10 pencil. They're Faber-Castell drawing pencils, and they're real soft. So that's how I'm able to get, along with the charcoal, to get these real dark areas.
Yeah.
Having the dark areas, I think, is always my opinion of what makes it look real. A lot of people, when they do a pencil drawing, they tend to not want to push hard. They're afraid of making a mistake. They draw real gray, real light, and it doesn't have the appearance of being real. And I'm all about detail and realism, and that's my middle name as far as my paintings go and my drawings. So that's what my goal is to achieve.
Yeah, so that's what you do achieve, because I've been telling everybody, look at his stuff. It looks real. You don't know. Is it a photo? Is it life? Is it the painting? What is it? It's just so perfect. I can't believe it.
Well, I tend to say that they, because I've had people ask me, "Are you better at drawing or are you better at painting?" And I'm going to tell you, I'm a better pencil artist than I am a painter. My paintings, I feel, are they're okay,
They're
but
pretty good.
they just don't. I just don't get I don't think I get quite the realism with my oils that I do my graphites. So. But that's just my opinion. But I've sold a lot of paintings, and
Yeah.
what am I going to say? Somebody's liking them.
Now this particular one, Cody the Legend, is that in any museum? Where's the original?
Actually, I do believe it went up for auction along with the three birdies, the three guns. That went up for auction at the Buffalo Bill fundraiser, which they have every September to raise money for the museum. And I think they were auctioned off. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Senator Coe got them from Wyoming. He's passed away a while back, but I think he's the one that got these two originals.
Just curious, do you keep track of who has the originals?
No, I
No.
don't.
And how do you feel about that? As a if I were a painter, I feel like those were my babies, and I'd be difficult. It'd be difficult to part with them.
I've had people say that when the thing is, though, I try not to get connected to them, especially when it means, several $1,000s is on the line. I'd rather $7,000 than have a painting, because I can, if I decide I want some, I have access that can I have a lot of canvas giclée prints out there, and I have a few of them, which is one of them that's behind me. There's one of them behind me. Here's the Mountain Man. But
Let me see if I can get myself out of the way here so we can see that.
yeah, the painting, the Mountain Man kneeling down, that's Richard Ashburn. That's an interesting piece. There was a buyer called me about buying that piece, and here I just come from a show that it was an open house show, and a lot of times I sell pieces while I'm there. Well, this piece didn't sell that day, and I came home, and when I was in the car and the phone rang, and here it was a voice asked me if that picture of Ashburn was still available, and I said yes. He goes, "Well, I want it," and I said, "Okay." I said, "You saw the price, right?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "No problem." most of them want to dicker with you. So it ended up, here what it was. He was the CEO of one of the big oil companies, and here Richard Ashburn was a friend of his, and he was his guide. And here Richard Ashburn's daughter was getting married in a few months. Well, this guy bought the painting, so the gift to her. So it was for a wedding gift. So
Okay.
that was sort of a special piece right there. But I like that piece, and I do manage that. I do have a giclée of it that hangs in the house here.
Okay. All right. I'm going to stop you real quick. Donna Zito Johnson says, "Hi, Denny. Love seeing your drawings and paintings." Is that
Thank you.
another fan? Is that another fan?
She posts every day on my stuff. God
Okay.
bless, Donna. Thank you, sweetie.
All right. Let's see. Just I want to mention again, if you're watching this live, go ahead and make a comment and tell us why you love the Western lifestyle, and that will enter you into a drawing for one of the two that we're giving away. So just make a comment either on YouTube or Facebook and tell us why you love the Western lifestyle and maybe where you want to go travel. Maybe we can go together. All right. So the other one is the Selleck with rifle. So let's talk about that story. And I'll show that one.
All right. This one was kind of interesting. The friend of mine that was one of the directors that verified the Cody piece for us, I asked him, he said, would you consider doing a piece for a giveaway or to auction off? And I said, sure. I said, what are you looking for? And he said, Tom Selleck is a member here, and he comes in all the time, and we let him use the private library downstairs. He goes through all of the stuff when he's going to make a Western movie. And I thought, yeah, this is great stuff. Well, I end up, he said, would you consider doing a portrait of Selleck? I said, sure. Yeah. So this is what I came up with. This is a drawing of Selleck that I did. I do believe the photograph was from a movie that he was in. It was called The Last Stand at Saber River, if I'm not mistaken. And it was in here. It was auctioned off, and they the museum actually made the #1 print, and they sent it to Mr. Selleck. So Selleck has the #1 print of that.
Wow, piece. That's special. You got such great stories. So, any other pieces that you want to mention? I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it, but any other pieces?
Not really. There's just so many that I've done, and I did a lot of them in a short amount of time because we only lived in Cody for a few years, and I ended up doing most of this paintings, not so much the drawings, but the paintings were all done within about a 2-year span, and I was hammering them out. But I was trying to get that done to get to go with all my pencil drawings and stuff that I had done earlier, because those were the first of the collection. As I think I told you, Becca, most of my Western art, my pencil drawings, when you look at them, are historical figures, and I always said that most of them are the people that have passed away or dead. And then I said, well, most of my oil paintings at the time were people that I've met and people that are alive and are friends of mine and now friends. So, it went from real fast to pencil drawings to painting again after 32 years. And that's how ended up that just started hammering them all out. And I just keep at it every once. I haven't even been painting much lately because of some health issues of 2 bad shoulders, 2 wrist surgeries, soon to be 3. So I've sort of put my art career as far as painting and drawing on hiatus again.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, so I understand about I've had a surgery.
Oh yeah,
recovering. But when we get older, those things happen, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so looking through your website, I noticed that there's a whole list of museums and that you work closely with museums. So you've had lots of is it called exhibitions of your work?
Hmm.
Tell me
I
about that.
Uh, one big one that I was invited to the Booth Western Art Museum, which is a beautiful, beautiful newer museum in Cartersville, Georgia, and it's just it was built, I do believe, maybe of just only 15, 20 years ago, and it's just pure eye candy. And all the famous artists are in there, and everybody that's Western artist is in there, and I feel so privileged to hang in there with them. I They actually gave me a one-man show that lasted there. It was up for a month in the gallery. They actually asked me if I would come in and explain, do a show, and they wanted it again. They wanted to see my crazy way that I paint and draw, and ended up. They asked me to talk 20 minutes. End up, I was in there for an hour and a half. Going over it, and people had all kinds of questions. So it ended up being a great thing to do. And one of the directors is one of the people that I painted, and that the piece is called Kid Rio. If you look, it's a man with a beautiful paisley bandana on, and but he was one of the directors, and we used his piece to explain how I paint and draw.
That's cool. So, what has been your favorite museum to work with, and the pieces that they've shown?
Be honest with you, it's the booth. The booth has they've it was I found out the owners they were an older couple that were I didn't even know who they were till later on, who their name was or anything. But when we had our store in Cody, Wyoming, the head guy, he calls me and he said, "Hey," he says, I'm down at your gallery here in Cody. I was at the ranch painting, and he says, I'm down here." And he said, the directors of the booth, they're in town because of the art auction. They're involved in that in Cody, clear out from Cartersville, Georgia. Well, here, I didn't realize it, but my wife saw this couple. Here they came in, and they were looking at my painting of Kid Rio, and the director called me afterwards, and he was down there. He said, "Hey," he said, "they're the owners of the booth. They were in. They want that piece." And so they bought that piece, hanging in my gallery in Cody, Wyoming. Now it's hanging in the Booth Western Art Museum in Cody.
That's cool.
Or excuse me, in Cartersville, Georgia. So the connection, so far away, but the Western art connection there.
Can you kind of tell the look in someone's eye when they focused on a painting and they want that one?
Yeah, it's kind of nice because they have these open house in the Plainsman Gallery where I'm at here it's in Dunedin, which is just a few miles south of me here in Newport Richey. It's near Tarpon Springs and Clearwater Beach, but they helped me out in my career. They've done real well. Matter of fact, I met the mother daughter that owned the booth, or excuse me, they own the Plainsman Gallery. They are brokers for Tom James, who Tom James is Raymond James Financial, the Raymond James Stadium, the Buccaneers in Tampa here. That name is it's around here. He has one of the largest collections of Western art here in Florida. Wow. But the two ladies that broker all his artwork are the ones that have the Plainsman Gallery, and that's how I got connected through them, through Wyoming, back to here, back
it's all connected. It's all connected.
Everything just all seems to go in a big loop.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. But tell me, you mentioned that there's several artists hanging in the Booth Museum, and artists with their work. So which artist would you say has been the most influential on you, especially in the world?
It is by far an artist by the name of James Bama. And James Bama was a graphic artist as well. And James, he just died a few years ago. but I had the privilege of meeting him in 1984, I do believe. We somehow we didn't realize, but I bumbled into the gallery that he's in Cody, Wyoming, and got to know the gallery owner. And he told me, he said, "Stick around here." He said, "Jim's coming in." I said, "Really?" So sure enough, I got to meet my idol, and
Wow.
but he painted a lot of the locals, and I I and before this even happened, I had a good friend of mine. He had a book in his hand one day, and here it was a James Bama book of all his paintings. And he looked at me, and he had this book. He said, "Denny," he said, "this book, I'm going to give this to you." He said, "This is what you need to do." And ended up a year or two later, that's when I met Jim, and then that's when I decided this is when I was going to start painting. It ended up I painted a couple of the same people that Jim had painted 20 years before that. And but I got to meet Jim several times. We used to run into him in the grocery store all the time. But the poor guy got degenerative eye disease, and ended up he couldn't paint after a while. And but what a shame. He used to be the illustrator for Doc Savage, if you remember that. They were paperback novels, and he did all the illustrations for them. That his stuff is highly photorealistic, and that's what inspired me to do the same type of paintings and paint the same type of people.
Have you done illustration work as well?
Absolutely. I used to illustrate a lot for the Pennsylvania Game News hunting magazine, sportsman magazine. When I lived in Pennsylvania, I lived not far from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and we grew up hunting. We lived in the sticks. We come home from school, grab the shotgun, the dogs, and we were hunting after school. But we spent a lot of the time in the woods and that. And growing up, I used to read the Pennsylvania Game News, and they always had such good artists in there. And so it ended up years later, I was hired by the Pennsylvania Game Commission to illustrate, and I illustrated a lot of stories. They would send me a manuscript, and they would usually ask for a full page illustration, a half page, and then a spot drawing to go with them. So I'd read the manuscript, and then I'd proceed to do illustrations. But what really the kicker in this whole thing is there was one writer that used to write a lot of the stories for there. He's from Pennsylvania, but he spent a lot of time on an Indian reservation in Wyoming. So he found himself writing all these hunting stories that would start off about a famous and Native American, like all these famous, and I ended up finding myself doing all these illustrations of famous Native Americans. So that's
Cool.
Here's my Western art thing, starting to
coincidence.
appear in front of me. And end up, my best friend took it upon himself, and he sent 2 or 3 of these pictures out to the Buffalo Bill Museum, and that's what lit them up, and that's why they contacted me, because of doing these illustrations for the Pennsylvania Game News. So that's sort of how my Western art started, in a funny way, doing hunting stories.
Yeah. Wow. So everything's kind of connected. It really is. So
Yes.
let's talk about that a little bit and kind of transition. Um, the role that God has played in your life, and has He always been the center of that? Where did it first begin, and then go into what you're doing now with the cowboyisms and the cowboy quotes?
Um,
It's a big one, isn't
this is good. I just I had parents that were God fearing parents, and they raised me right. They really did. And like I said earlier about sitting in church at the age of 3, being told to draw a picture, and I listened. I sat every Sunday. My grandmother and grandfather off to my right, my parents sit to the left, and it just we always used to sit and listen to the preacher, and the preacher was friends of our family. And I remember he would get going, and and you would hear the elders go, "Amen, amen, amen," and then you could just hear the buildup of something was coming from this preacher and Pastor Price, and all at once he'd hit it, and everybody would yell, "Amen!" And I did hear my grandfather sitting next to me yelling, "Amen!" And it just that stuff rubs off on you, and I really feel that it kept me out of trouble. I was in the Boy Scouts. I almost made Eagle Scout till I had a few more merit badges to go, and I discovered girls in cars, motorcycles.
It happens.
I've always, even in Scouts, there's a religious tone there. There's just so many things that my grandparents were all God-fearing people. They, I know that I always said that I'm here because of the prayers of my parents, my mother, my grandparents. And they've really kept me out of trouble, because there's times that things go south. And so I feel I'm sort of on a mission to carry that on. I feel people need to.
Yeah, they really do. And when we're
believe in it. With the way things are lately, there's a lot of people, I think they're looking for something positive. I think you and I talked about that the other day. Just so much negativity. And my big cowboyism sites group on Facebook, we really try to stay positive and keep all interference out, and try to get the message out. And it just amazes me that the site was just started a little over 2 years ago, and it has over 275,000 people following us, and it's just a mind-boggling that there's that many people that need to hear what we put up there. So
yeah, and I enjoy it because I love the Western lifestyle, but it inspires me daily to see your post, and somehow because I like them, I share them, they come into my feed every day. And there's always something that speaks to me. So what I'm wondering is, when you're preparing those posts, what is inspiring you to do those particular sayings, scriptures, advice, whatever you want to call it? What inspires you to do that?
I think this is something we talked about the other day. A lot of these prayers, many of these prayers are not mine. I've always, there's been times that even as a young man, I've stood up and said prayers in church. And I mean, that takes a lot to do. I mean, stand up in front of elders and lay out a prayer. And it's very hard to do. And a lot of the prayers that I put up are not mine. If I know who did them, I give them credit, because I'm telling you, there's some real prayer masters out there, and that know how to teach people how to pray. And the prayers that I look for. A lot of stuff that I find on Pinterest. And as I sit, when you look at images in Pinterest, I'm looking at maybe 30, 40 images in one patch right in front of me, and all of them are all different. So I'm sitting there looking at them, looking for something that appeals to me, and and I'm looking at it, and there's maybe 6-8 prayers on there, or 6-8 sayings or quotes, and it's like no, and all at once, one of them, it's just like something, there's somebody over my shoulder points and says, that one. And so I take and start dragging these ones that are being in my head, being told, that one. And then the odd thing is, and then I'll start looking for images of maybe cowboys, cowgirls, Native Americans, or whatever. And I said, oh, that's it. Again, I'm looking at hundreds of images at one time. So, and I mean, all at once, it's just like that one just sort of like glows. So I yank it off the screen, drag it onto my desktop. And so when I start to build these things, I start putting them together. So I'll take this image of this person or this cowboy, then I'll grab this prayer, and I'll grab it, and I'll lay the thing in. And if that prayer doesn't go right around the person's face, or around their hands, around their body. And it was just like,
it's meant
that
to be.
prayer was it's I guess the divine intervention. I don't know what you call it, but it's I'm being led, and it's as I say, I don't know why I'm doing this, but it seems like somebody shows up and said, I needed that today. And you say, well, that was the person that God wanted to get, even if it was just one.
That's right.
But that's what he wanted. That's what he got.
Yep.
So, but it's nice to see, though, a lot of people sharing them. And we've been having issues lately. I'm not sure if it's, Facebook or whatever, but they've got us pushed back in the fact that we were getting anywhere from 500 to 1,000 new members a day. And now if we can get 50 a day, we're doing good. So Facebook has got a slam to the back. I don't know what's happening, but I sure hope they open the floodgates again. Another big site that I'm on is Cowboy Quotes. They're doing the same thing to them. They have over 850,000 people in that site, and but they're throttling them back as well. But we were 500 to 1,000 people a day. That's a lot of people come in, and now they're not there. And I pray to God that He opens the floodgates soon. And if you got a prayer for it, say it for us, please.
I guess we don't really need to talk about all the politics of Facebook while we're on Facebook.
No, we don't.
But
no, we don't.
Yeah, there are reasons for gating and not. So we'll leave that discussion for another time. All right, so I want to put this up here. So this is Donna. She says, Denny, God chose wisely when He chose you to do the post that you do. Your drawings remind me of the Westerns I love to read. I've always daydreamed of living on a ranch or a farm. So there you go. That's inspiration.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad seeing you guys every day. I posted on my stuff. It's because of you that we keep going.
Yeah,
I get up every day at 5 o'clock and start this. And, some days you get up and I've been doing this every day for the last 3 years, every day. And I don't think I've missed more than one. There was a couple of times I was sick, but I don't think I've missed a day in 3 years.
That's yeah. I was telling you before that, about the lady that lives down the road from me. She does the Horse Mafia site, and she has millions of followers and does the same type of inspirational post. And people just really need that right now.
They do. I really think they do. Just people need something. And I hope that, our site is one that can help them get that. And
for sure. Yeah. Just while we're talking about this particular topic, tell me your thoughts about AI and how you're using it and how it's affecting your work.
I grew up using Photoshop mostly. I'm an artist for Harley Davidson, and I was actually I'm waiting on work right now, but I was an artist for Harley Davidson for roughly about 16 years, and I was creating t-shirt artwork for them. Mostly when I worked in-house I used to do the designs for on the fronts of the Harley shirts, and now that I freelance, I do like the sponsor or the dealership artwork on the backs of the shirts. And a lot of that is all done in Photoshop. Just in the last couple of months, I've purchased and I'm using an AI program as a tool. And a lot of the images that you will see of me, of other people, I'm using AI to make the images a little more interesting, make them look a little better, a little more presentable. But the AI has really helped me out. You can only find so many images, and if nothing else, I'm able to create images from AI. I don't work in video of any kind. Everything I do is all flat print and or website, and so I'm just in love with this AI, what I'm able to do with it. It blows me away. And a lot of what I'm doing, my mom passed away a year ago, and I've been going through old photographs, and a lot of them aren't very good. And I'm able to snap a photograph with my iPhone and run those photographs through an AI program. It makes them, it's unbelievable what that program will do to recondition these old photographs that are 70 some years old.
Wow. So, I mean, what is the procedure there? Because some people might want to do that. Is there a particular program that you use that is working good?
There's a whole bunch of them out there. I use one that's called Airspace or Artspace AI, and a lot of it it creates it takes images, say of myself, and creates some of them in the realm of a master, like a Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci style. And there is a couple AI program or prompts in there that when I run them, they almost look like the same style if I was painting. They almost look like the same style I would use. And a lot of my paintings, some of them, I have one of them of Tom Mix that I did that took 110 hours to paint. And I can create one of these images of me or whatever in 3 minutes.
Jerry.
And it just looks like it does. It's just a beautiful painting. And I'm just, every time I fire it up, I find something else that it'll do. And I'm anxious to maybe be able to use some of it on Harley Davidson artwork, because I didn't have that when I was creating it before. It'll save a lot of time and procedures of cutting out motorcycles to place into other images and stuff. But I'm loving AI. And a lot of people are going to hate on it, but I don't use the info part of it. I just use the stuff for doing the illustrations.
Let's see. Lots of comments going on over here. Let's look at this. From Michael McDermott again. Denny's art reminds me a lot about Louis L'Amour books that Gregory Manchus did.
That's great stuff. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Donna, Louis L'Amour books. Am I saying that right? I hope. Books are my favorite. Denny's art reminds me of those characters.
I see my friend John Wilson's on there. We've been working a project. My friend John is John grew up in Cody, Wyoming, and he's an historian, and we've been working all of these old images that he collects, that he's sending to me. And we are building all of these beautiful old photographs back and adding things to them, of old images of buildings of drive-ins and anything cowboy that downtown. And we are coming up with some really nice stuff for John, and I can't wait to see what he does with it. He has some really nice slideshows and stuff that he already uses in that. But this is fun working with John.
That's awesome. So tell me, so far, what's been the greatest honor of your life?
I think that, to be honest with you, I think it's meeting Mr. Rooney, Art Rooney Jr., and being introduced to that, because I live in the Steelers, and just the fact that I was introduced to him, and he's promoted my career so much that he has been a blessing to me. And I talk to him occasionally. I tell you, he's quite the man. And people, you always heard growing up how generous the Rooney family was when we were younger, and when they all running the Steelers, and you can't know how gracious these people are till you sit down and break bread with them. I just times we've got to go to games, sit up in the owner's booth and stuff. That is sort of was the crowning jewel, and then to have artwork to hang in the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton is just that's my crowning jewel.
That's awesome. So this is kind of a different question. Excuse me. So Thomas Kincaid, Thomas Kincaid is known as the painter of light.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you want to be known as?
That's a good question.
Yes.
I'd like to be. I
Let
do
me
not.
get back to you.
Yeah, that one is a tough one. I don't know. I have so many things that I want to be remembered for, and I don't know what. I just want to be remembered, I guess, as a good person that did and tried and succeeded at what he wanted to do. And I hope that it rubs off on all my followers.
Awesome. So, do you have any advice for the young starving artist that's just getting started?
Yes, please. It's one of those things. If you decide that this is what you want to do, it's not an easy road to hoe. I'm telling you, it's a hard road. It's not. You probably never get rich doing this, but thank God you get up in the morning and go, man, this is great. I'm doing I'm actually doing what I love to do every day, and to me, that's not work. Even when we were running our big screen printing company, I my wife used to be mad at me because I wouldn't work in the art department. I paid people to work in my art department, and I was out crawling around printing presses, loading trucks in loading bays, and working on technical stuff. And I should have been in the art room doing that. There's a lot of things that I regret doing it. I should have done a little different, but like I said, you're not going to get rich being an artist, but it is so satisfying to see your stuff in print, to see your stuff online, and getting compliments and stuff, and getting reaction from people. That's what's so satisfying.
Yes, I agree there. So, where can people go to see your work?
My website is KarchnerWesternArt.com. My last name, westernart.com. And I really urge you to go on to Facebook and do a search for my group, Cowboy Isms, and or look me up and then follow me as well. We've just trying to get as many people in there as again, because the more people that we get in there, they're very good at sharing things, and sharing things is where I really find it. That's where it starts spreading like a wildfire once it hits the open market and to get people's word out. So I urge you to follow us on Facebook, please.
Okay, so I'll put that up there too so people can see that. We want to mention one more time that if you're watching right now, watching us live, make sure you comment and tell us what you love about the Western lifestyle so you can be entered in the drawing for a chance to win one of the prints, Cody the Legend, or Sell It with Rifle, right? And
Yes.
We'll make the decision later about which ones we're going to give away. Then also, you can keep watching the interview and going back and seeing it over and over and over if you want to, over on YouTube, the YouTube channel. You can also see it on the Wildflower Western Travel Facebook page. But make sure you make a comment there up until June 8th at midnight, and we'll do another drawing for the second one. So, yeah, thank you very much for those donations. I appreciate that. And I know the two winners really love you. Now, if somebody wants to buy a print or an original or any of that, can they do that now?
They can. There's on my website. There's a link on each piece that says buy this print. My wife has another site that we sell all my artwork on, and that is BuffaloTraderOnline.com. BuffaloTraderOnline.com, and that's where you can see my artwork, and then that's where if you decide you wanted to purchase some pieces, that's where you go. There's the shopping carts or everything are there.
Okay, is that right? BuffaloTraderOnline.com. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, and then you said you were kind of in another hiatus. So can someone commission you to do a piece at this point, or no?
At this point, I'm actually not doing any painting or drawing right now because I've had other people that ask me about doing it, and I'm just refusing right now. I've been sort of concentrating on getting these sites built up, and then I'm sort of waiting, hoping that Harley will be calling here soon. So I can't wait to start doing Harley artwork again. So
yeah, and you're a Harley rider.
I am. I don't ride Harleys, but I sure love doing artwork for them. So
there you go.
I used to race motorcycles, but it's not Harleys.
Yeah, I got you. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on today to tell us your story. It's right at 11 o'clock. I can't believe we've been talking for an hour, but we did. And you are a great storyteller, and I'd like to have you back sometime for an update, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody for watching live today, and for the replay viewers when they watch us. Appreciate you. Make sure you enter the drawing so we can give that away. We'll give that away. The one for today, we can decide today, but then the other one will be by June 8th. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Make sure you follow everybody's pages so you know when we go live and what he's doing with his cowboyisms. Share those things out. All right. Thanks,
God,
Denny.
God bless you. You guys
God
have a great day. Thank you so
Have a great
much.
day, great weekend. Be safe.
Bye-bye.